Ladies and gentlemen, today is March 22nd, 2017, and this is the KNKL Show, episode 332, where we learn to be better artists. My name is King Lafferty, and I would like to welcome you to another show. Today we are going to be talking about painting skin, but specifically dark, mysterious, sexy ladies, and we're going to be having a lot of fun with that. This is a continuation of last week, what we talked about, painting skin, taking a picture of ourselves, transposing it onto a new character that looks nothing like us, but like learning about like lighting and how that affects the skin. And if you're curious about that, click up here. It'll take you back a week. But this week, we are not studying a picture of ourselves, but rather a picture of someone that we like. And we're going to be translating the skin colors of this awesome model on the left side over to mocha. We're going to be having a lot of fun with that. But before we get into that, we need to take a stroll down a special place, and that is, of course, the lovely Lane. So journey with me over to tinyurl/KNKL fanart and click on the secret link called CL. Facebook does not want you to know about this. Facebook hates me for showing you this. But if you do click CL, you will be amazed. You will be dazzled by the amazing pieces that you guys have been submitting out there. Once again, thank you to everyone who has come out of the shells. And if you have not yet submitted your art, then just go over here, like the page, submit your art, and you're going to be featured on next week's show. That could be scrolling on by. Scrolling on by. Is that everybody? I think that's getting pretty close. Just want to make sure everybody gets some good screen time. Again, thank you everyone who has been submitting. You guys are awesome. Okay, I think that catches us up to where we were. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into today's show. And we got a good one planned. Okay, and we are working with Mocha, as I said. Mocha, in case you're curious, is this character down here. She's from Made of Metal, the anime series that never truly existed, but I like to make you think that it does. But yeah, she's an awesome character, and we are going to be studying that. Now, the most important thing that I want to do before we get into this, because I'm sure you're looking at this portrait of Mocha, and you're like, okay, well, that's nice, Keenan, but I don't even know how to get started. Like, how does this get started? And that's what I'm going to demonstrate right now, okay? And for an in-depth thing on this, I also have a whole nother series that's called Back to Basics, Drawing Faces. And if you want to go up to that, then click right here. This will I'm basically putting all this into a nutshell for you and showing you how I measure my character's face out. See, so I put a circle with a chin shape, and then that alone allows me to start laying my facial features, like the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, in the right places, right? We don't just start drawing an eye and then try to like tack on a nose somewhere without any sort of measurement, right? You want to make sure you start with shapes. Use shapes to your advantage, okay? Then after that, we move up to just adding a little bit more of the body. I decided to just use the same pose as this lovely model over here with the shoulder in the front. Looks awesome. And then we just start adding, more hair onto it. And I actually broke a rule. I broke a rule, and that is drawing off of a head. However, you can get away with this. You can get away with drawing off of a head and drawing off of a face if the pose is not very dynamic. Like, I can't draw this face and then have the character like heroically jumping at you with like some sort of, like weapon or like punching the screen. It just doesn't work that way. You need to keep the entire body in mind for that type of drawing, okay? And that's also detailed in the Back to Basics series. But regardless, that's how we got to this point. Then what we did was we took our line art. Let's go ahead and get rid of all these masks. So we took our line art, which is actually see-through. So if we turn off the background, you can see that it's actually completely see-through. Or there is one. Okay, there we go. Completely see-through. And then we are putting in our masks, which is basically me going in there, and I'm beginning to separate out each of my materials one by one. And this is going to allow me to easily go in there and paint one thing at a time. I can focus on one thing at a time. So you can see this mask represents the skin. This one is the hair. And this one is the eyes. And that's going to come in handy in about 2 seconds because we're ready to go, okay? I wanted to make sure I took care of all this stuff that we can get right into the coloring. And we can focus more on doing overpaints and having a good time today. Okay, so the first thing that we want to ask ourselves before we do anything is, what is the light source that is happening with this model? Okay, and it's actually very simple. And it'll detail something that I'm really excited to go into today. And again, I'm going to play this as though you have seen the previous episode on skin, because we're going to be going over a lot of familiar concepts, and that is color boomeranging, hue shifting, and all that stuff. The fact that, take a look at this. This will sum it up for you. So the highlight of the skin, take a look at this. It's actually very desaturated. Yet as we start rounding the form, look, we're moving down and to the right. We're going saturated. We're darkening. We're not just moving straight up and down, right? We don't just take brown. We don't just take brown and go up and down, right? We're boomerang. We're going down or as a diagonal, okay? And but more importantly, let's talk about the light source so that way we know what we are studying. Because you don't want to just look at a model and then transpose it over to your character without really knowing what's going on. And luckily for us, this is a very simple lighting setup. And you can see I've already labeled it for us. There is a frontal ambient light, which is what is hitting all of these areas on the face. I'll go ahead and make a new layer for this so we can bring this to the forefront. So the frontal ambient is hitting areas like this and this and this and this. And do you notice something interesting? Do you notice the brightest parts of the face? All of the brightest parts of the face are the planes, right, that are straight on looking at you. And that's because of the frontal ambient light. The light that is hitting from the front is refracting and going straight back into your eyeballs at the exact plane that is equivalent to you. And to sum up, like, basically what I'm saying is that, so the plane, see how bright this paper is? But when I turn it to the side, see how it gets darker? Well, the camera makes up for it by like changing the exposure. Basically the plane, as soon as that plane faces directly at you, that is when it's at its brightest. And that is what gives the form a turn. It allows the form to turn away from you. Because see, now as the forehead turns back into the distance, see, look at that, it gets darker. But wait a minute. Wait just a second, it gets lighter over here. What's happening over here? Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, that, my friends, is the backlight, because we have this really, really bright backdrop behind our model, and that is going to be refracting or reflecting off the edges of the face, therefore giving us a second light source. A second light source, and that is our backlight. And that's what we get all through here. We're going to be exploring and enjoying all of those things today. We're going to be having a good time. So let's go ahead and get started. Now that we have our general rules in place, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to Mocha's skin. And we are going to work with a soft brush, as I taught you guys last week, which makes things oh so much easier. Oh, so much easier. And we're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to go ahead and use our eyedropper tool to pick the right color, pick the perfect color for our midtone. Now, midtone is kind of like, it's not in the highlight, it's not in the shadow, it's right in that middle area. And we're going to study that color. What color is that? Oh, it's kind of like this saturated brown, this middle tone saturated brown. I'm going to bring mine just ever so slightly more towards red and desaturate it, okay? For reasons unknown. I don't know, it's just the way that I like it. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that I lock the layer by hitting this little checkerboard button down here. It's going to lock the layer. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to basically begin painting the entire skin. It allows you to paint just the skin, and it's not going to go out of it. See, if I uncheck that checkerboard, see, it's going to go everywhere, and we don't like that. It's going to look all crappy and muddy, and it's out of control, okay? So we don't want that. We want to make sure that it is controlled. So the next thing that we're going to do is, so we have a base color that we like. Now we want to move into our highlights. We want to pay attention to how itchy our nose is, one. And then second, we want to make sure that we take a look at what is happening as we move towards our highlights. Okay, we want to study this. Okay, so we've already established that the middle brown is like this kind of saturated brown there. But then we know by color boomerang, as we go towards our lights, we're going to begin desaturating. But even more importantly, pay attention to your hue. Is it going more towards red or is it going more towards yellow? Because good skin tones don't always stay the same hue. It's not always going to stay in this perfect little orange area. Okay, so look at this. As we go towards our lights, oh, look at that. It's kind of like moving more in this red area. Pay attention right here. This is your hue Richter scale. Right in this red area. But down here, see, we're a little bit more towards orange. Okay, so I want to get like the super red, the super desaturated red, and I want to start using that. Now we're going to start just bringing this and putting this on areas of the skin that line up with the same areas on our character's face. Okay, and it's going to be super easy, super fun. And let's go ahead and lay it down in the same areas where we see the brightest points happening. So that's going to be areas like this. We're going to have an area right in here. There's a really, really bright pocket of light right here in between the crevasse that leads up to your nose. Don't forget about that. I always do, so don't forget it. Okay, there's also light that gathers on the muzzle of the mouth because we have learned in the past that the mouth doesn't just sit flat against your face. There is depth to it. There's depth to it. It actually pops off the face a little bit. Now, okay, so here is step one. You're going to lay in these colors, and you're going to be like, okay, well, this looks good, but when I squint my eyes, it's starting to look too much like there's too much geometry happening. There's too many changes that are happening in the face. It's not looking pretty the way that I want it to. Now, why is that? Well, the reason is because you have too much contrast happening in the face. You want to soften. You want to soften things as you go. Okay, so here's how you soften. It's very, very simple. You just want to take these areas of high contrast and you want to begin softening these areas like this. And lo and behold, and basically what you're doing here, lo and behold, it's going to start looking better. But more importantly, the reason why this works is because you're theoretically flattening the face. You're flattening the face, akin to girls that turn up the contrast, right? I shouldn't just say girls. I used to do this too. You turn up the contrast super high so that way your teeth shine very brightly on the webcam when actually they're not really that nice looking. But because of the contrast, it flattens them into a single shape and it looks much more pleasing to us, okay? So that is what you're doing. You are flattening and simplifying the face. I once heard somebody say that the way you make a woman's face look attractive is by lessening the amount of lines on it, right? Not saying that, I'm sure there's some foxy grandmas out there too, but regardless, the less lines on the face, the prettier technically it is. So take it with a grain of salt. That's the way I like to remember it. Simplify, flatten the face. It's another reason why I think that anime faces tend to look very attractive to us because they're very simple. They're very simple and they're flat most of the time. Okay, so see what we've done there? We've gone from, whoops, let me go ahead and make this a separate layer so that we can compare. There we go. So we've gone from this to this. See how already we're beginning to add some nice flavor to our face. That's awesome, okay? So this is good and all. This is good. However, we're missing those subtle little changes. Do you notice how on the model, I mean, this is obviously makeup. I think they could have been a little bit more subtle with this. But there is blush that's happening. It's going more towards reds on the cheek. And regardless of whether or not you have makeup on, it's going to do this naturally anyways. And that's something that you don't want to forget about in your characters themselves. So let's go ahead and make a new layer. And let's go ahead and add in a little bit of that blush. But let's do it manually. Let's not rely on the model as much. And let's do it manually. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to pull it down towards red. We're going to saturate just a little bit, okay? You can see the comparison right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the cheeks. I'm going to put it in the ears. Whoops. Whoops! There we go. Put it on the ears. There's always a little tiny bit on the nose. Definitely a lot on the lips. These are areas of high blood vessel pigment. High blood vessel pigment. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and add a little bit of pink to the lip there. Make sure that we're getting that awesome color transition that happens right there. And yeah, this is looking really good. It's looking really good so far. Let's move on to the next part, which is our second light, our backlight. And let's take a look and study what's happening there. Okay, so we have our mid-tone color, or mid-tone, which is this saturated brown. Now let's see what happens as we're moving towards the backlight. Whoa, look at that. It's actually moving all the way towards gray. It's actually fully desaturating. Isn't that interesting? But we want to make sure that we see what that middle transition is, right? Because we go from local, then we go to the highlight. But what's the middle color? And it's right in between. So imagine it as, this is our local color, and then we're moving this way. We're going boom and up. We're going boom, launching, blasting off, and then we're going desaturated and moving up and to the left, okay? So that's what we're going to do. The same thing on our character. Same thing on our character. And it's actually going to be very simple, okay? We're just going to do this. Rim lights are always much easier because you can kind of just throw them in there and they just tend to look good. See, isn't that awesome? Look at that. Just that little bit It's that little bit of information. Really adds a lot of flavor to our character. Love stuff like that. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? So we're off to a good start. Now don't worry, this isn't supposed to look perfect just yet. Right now what you're trying to do is just get a color palette, because all the additional things that you'll be doing to the face afterwards, you will be taking care of in the overpaint. That's when you'll be adding all your cool little effects and final little details. Okay? So for now, what I'm going to start doing is I notice that in the forehead, this tends to be a little bit more in the yellow range, whereas down here, see how we're more in the red range? Especially right in here. So from here to here. It's actually not much of a difference, but it's very, very slight. And that is what we like to pay attention to. Okay, we like those slight, minute differences. So I'm going to put a little bit more yellow in the skin up here. A little bit more red down here. And that is looking beautiful. That is looking so beautiful. And then I want to pay attention to my shadows, because there are some shadows down here in the lip area. Now I'm just quickly grabbing these and taking a look at what happens to the hue shift. Isn't that interesting? We're actually moving towards yellow. The shadows are moving very, very yellow. Now, I usually don't do this, and this is why I love studying photographs. In fact, what's interesting is just because it goes yellow here for a shadow doesn't mean that all your shadows should. And the reason why is right here. Take a look at this model up here. See how we have bright desaturated highlights? Then we move towards, look, we're moving towards like these browns, these reddish browns. Oh, this is interesting. So then I guess these shadows down here would be yellow as well, right? Oh, wow, look at that. The shadows are actually going further red and then eventually kind of like popping out the other side and going purple. Now, this is because of the treatment of the photo, guys. And theoretically, I would say that you could go either way. You could go either way on this. But for this exercise, I kind of want to go, I'm going to go against what I usually do, and I'm going to move towards yellows. I'm going to move towards yellows for my shadows. Okay, and we're going to desaturate. Desaturate. Because usually I do like to go purple. I usually like to go purple for my shadows. But this time we shall not. We shall not. Cool. All right, so we need a little bit of shadow there. We've got shadow that's happening underneath the nose. We don't want to miss that. Got some nice deep shadows that are happening in here. And again, a little bit goes a long way, guys. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it, especially on the girl's face. Okay, so mix in a little bit of those shadows. See if you can get it to the point that you like. Again, doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to be going to overpaints in just a moment. And we'll hash all that other stuff out as we get to that point. Okay? Now, another thing that I've noticed is we want a little bit of darkness here. A little bit of darkness here, maybe. And let's go ahead and take a look at this stuff. What's happening in here? Because now I'm curious about what's happening with our reflected light and the intermediary color between those two. And it looks like, well, yeah, look at that. It makes sense. We are over here and then we're moving up and to the left. So let's mix a little bit of that in. Or let's just blend the colors that are currently there. That seems to make sense. Oh yeah, and also, let's go fully desaturated for that very, very edge. For the very, very edge of our character's face. That should also help. Yeah, that looks good. Very good. Isn't that awesome, guys? Look at that. See how the light like refracts off the edge of that lip there? These are things that I just wouldn't think about. I usually forget about these things, yet having a model really helps to bring that together. Okay, I'm gonna soften this. Alrighty, guys, we're looking pretty dang good. We're looking pretty dang good. It's about time to move on to our overpaints. Feeling overpaints. Now I'm going to simply, oh, I want to do the back too. I want to do the back really bad. So let's go ahead and just take these same colors. We know we know that the light that is affecting the back is actually the light from the background, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and take the same setup that they have here. So it looks like it gets brightest in these areas. It gets bright right there. And look at that. Isn't that awesome? I love studying photos like this, guys. You can tell I'm actually learning quite a bit as I go through this too. And this is the exact thing that I want you guys to be doing as you study for yourselves. Because there's a lot to learn. There's a whole lot to learn. And I want to see what color this is. Oh, awesome. That's a desaturated yellow, going towards yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and steal that. I'm going to put that in there too. Oh! Oh, it's beautiful. Love it. Love it. Okay, cool. All right, so I would say we are about ready to move on to overpaints. However, I'm going to lock the hair, the suit, and all that stuff. I'm going to very quickly color this hair. And you're probably going to hate me for this, but I'm going to make it look super simple. So I'm just going to color it like this. I'm going to go like that. And boom, look at that. You have hair. Oh, wasn't that easy? It's so easy because the hair is basically like a band. It's just a band that goes through. It's like a ribbon. So you can see it happening in the model here. See, it's going straight up on the model. Which is, I mean, arguably it could be doing the same thing here, but I always like to think of it as like a little halo that goes around the hair. And look at this. It goes down this hair because the funnel, or think of it as a cylinder. This cylinder is it's curly hair that's facing towards you. So the way that the light would get picked up is, again, the planes that are facing directly at you. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alrighty, people. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and just finish this up real quick. Alright. Oh, this is looking grand. This is looking grand, good, amazing, awesome, all that good stuff. All right, guys, so I would say we are about ready to go to overpaints. Let's do it. Okay, so now that you've gotten to this point, you're probably very proud of yourself. You're very happy. But the true test is about to begin. Oh, wait, I almost forgot about our line coloring. We need to do line coloring first. So let's go ahead and create a new layer above our line work right here. Turn on and off your line work, create a new layer above it, then hold Alt, click between the two layers. And now check this out. Any color that you choose, you're now going to be able to color the lines and the lines only. It's going to come in handy because we want to begin softening our lines. We want to begin softening our lines. And we know now that our shadows are moving towards a dark yellow. Dark yellow. So therefore, I can be safe by choosing sort of like this dark orange for our shadows. And what you want to begin doing is going through your character, specifically on the areas of the skin. And I want you to begin painting and softening. And you do this by painting the colors, or painting the lines a lighter color. So take a look here. See how I'm painting it like that? But you don't want to go overboard, okay? Only put it in certain areas where you specifically want to have softer lines, okay? These are areas like, hey, say the lips. The lips are a great area for this because the lips don't have black lines. You want to make sure that they look lively and beautiful. Yeah, like that. See? A little bit of color in there makes all the difference. See, I'm turning it on and off, on and off, on and off. Makes a big, big difference. So that's step one. Let's go ahead and move on to step two. Step two is now we are going to begin coloring our character, or overpainting. We're going to have a grand time with that. We're going to have a grand time with that. So let's get started, shall we? Condense all of your layers down into one folder, or, I mean, that part doesn't really matter, but the important part is create a new layer, call it OP. And this is the layer now. Whatever you say goes. Whatever you say goes. You are the king. So if you want to paint whatever color down, doesn't matter. Okay? Nothing is going to stand in your way at this point. So now we really want to start getting in there and paying attention to our planes of the face. planes of the face. So let's start with the nose. Let's start with the nose. I want to make sure that we get that nice bright highlight right there. And we have a similar treatment of the nose as we do on the model. Now, as you go about doing this, you'll start to notice a few things. You'll start to notice, hey, the piece is getting a little bit kind of sketchy. It's getting more painterly. You're going to start painting and you're going to get like texture like this. Not necessarily a bad thing. Not necessarily a bad thing. But you want to think about it this way. Less is more at this point. You've done a lot of the work. Now what you're really trying to do is just get in there and add your fine details. Okay? These are areas of bright highlights, such as on the edge of the cheek here. Okay? This goes right up to the edge of the eye. So we can go ahead and bring that up to the edge of the eye. And a little bit of texture I found actually makes the skin look even better. It actually makes the skin look really nice. I'm going to add in a little bit more dark shadows because you can also do that. You can add in your shadows at this point. I'm going to add in some shadow right here on the edge of the eye. I notice I missed a little bit of shadow right there. So you can add in a little bit more. And that's also going to help to develop the face. Developing your faces. Developing your places. That is very good. Very good. Okay, cool. Yeah, that looks really nice. That looks really good. Okay, I'm going to take this reflected light. Notice there's a little bit of reflected light that gets caught right here on the edge of the face as it rounds. And as you do this, guys, you'll start to notice that, hey, I can see like rules and patterns forming. As things turn away from me, they start to light up again. Then in this middle kind of area, they kind of go to the local color. And then as planes turn directly towards my eye, again, they get brighter. And so eventually you'll start to land yourself in this area that I like to call basically sculpting with color. You'll know what color to use based upon what plane you're trying to paint. If that makes any sense at all. Put basically, it just means that think of yourself as a sculptor. And now whatever color you choose to put down now represents a plane of the face. Okay? And I love it when I get to this point. I absolutely love it when I get to this point because it's very fun to just begin just kind of playing with your colors. Playing with your colors and getting it to the point where you can actually see the face changing shape by how you paint it. And I absolutely love that stuff. Absolutely love that stuff. Okay, we also got a little bit of light that gets caught right there. We don't want to miss that. Let's not forget about our awesome color on the lip. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that looks awesome. That looks awesome. Okay, let's go and put some darker colors right there. Got a little bit of light that happens right there. And light right there. Alrighty, people. So we are looking pretty dang good at this point, but you can see, I'm sure, some areas where it's getting a little bit kind of dodgy. It's getting a little bit paint strokey. We don't like that. We want to eventually smooth things out. But I'm actually not completely convinced that we're ready to do that yet, so we're going to continue. I want to darken these eyes a little bit more, give Mocha her more mysterious, seductive eyes. There we go. Let's not forget about the highlight that goes on there. There we go. That should make it start looking really nice. Really nice. Cool. Oh, and the other thing that I like about doing an OP layer is oftentimes you'll start to add in details and you might say, hey, you know, I kind of like the way that this face looked when it was a little bit more simple, like specifically like in this lip area. You can always go in there and you can erase things. You can erase things away to kind of pull it back to where it was. And ever so slightly, you can just like erase the entire thing or you can just erase it a little bit. You know, find something that works for you. There's another reason why I like setting my OP layer as a separate layer. Okay? So also I like to make new layers whenever I'm about to change something new or I'm about to do like a major change to the face. So I'm noticing there's a little bit of brown in this area. And I want to make sure that I highlight and get this shape proper. There's a little bit of light that gets caught right there. I want to make sure I get that right. Ah! Yes! Let's go ahead and blend this out. That line was meant to signify the edge of her cheek as it comes down. But we don't want our lines to be showing. We want everything to be softer. Softer and good looking. We like that. All right, this is looking great, guys. This is looking really good. Really happy with how Mocha's turning out. Last but not least, let's go ahead and put in our tear ducts, because we want our character to not only be able to blink, it's very important, but they also need to be able to wet their eyes. Let's make sure we put in those tear ducts. There we go. Ah, very nice. Very nice. It's looking great. Still a little bit of light that gets caught right here on that edge. Don't want to miss that. And this seems to get a little darker right here too. Oh yeah, that looks awesome. Okay guys, now, you see what I just did there? Do you see how subtle of a change that was to the nose? And yet, do you see how just putting that little bit of reflected light and then that little bit of shadow there transforms the face to make it look just a little bit more realistic? Isn't that awesome? And that is what I really want to drive home today, guys, is that the face is composed of so many tiny changes in color, in perspective, and like planes. And all of this is being communicated by your colors and your shading and your values. And I don't want you guys to feel overwhelmed, or worst case scenario, I don't want you to be bummed out because you feel like you're not getting it. It's going to take time. It's going to take study. And even me sitting here doing this, I'm learning things. And I've been doing this for over 20 years, you know, so there's always new stuff to learn. And you should embrace that. You should get excited about it. And speaking of getting excited, I think it's about time we cast some question catapults. And I'll keep working on this as I answer questions. I'm liking the way this looks. It looks great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and pull up some questions. Wait, where are they? All right. So it's really interesting how you guys seem to ask a lot of similar questions during the... Oh, wait, I need to move this one up a little bit. Can I make this one go through? Oh, wait, there we go. Oh, we can see just a little bit of it. Okay, well, I'll have to read the rest of it. You guys asked very similar questions as the weeks go by. And this one, the question of the week is, am I too old for the art industry? Should I even be doing this? Can I really actually become a professional? And it's really interesting. So let's go ahead and get started. So Drift is asking, hey guys, new to the MZ, been watching the KNKL show for a few years. I'm 26 years old. Used to draw every day until I hit junior high. Finally started again, and I'm not that good, right? I mean, this is awesome. I really like this. So saying not that good, I mean, that's kind of a relative term. Am I too late to join the art industry? I always feel that I am. A weak in perspective, life drawing, kind of feel that I'm a lost cause. Don't really know how to word it, but basically, am I too old to pursue a career? Thanks. All right, Drift. Great question. This is probably one of the most common questions that I get asked, and that is, I feel like I'm behind, or I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Is it too late? Is it too late? And there are two answers to this question. One is, yes, sometimes it is too late. Sometimes it is too late for you to become a professional, well, right now, right? If you think that too late is like if you can ever do it. But I feel like people say it's too late, but they don't. They kind of end it there. It's like, too late for what? Too late for you to get in within the next few years? Well, yeah, probably. If you haven't been studying for a while, or if you just don't feel like you grasp certain concepts, then yes, yeah, you're too late to get in right now. But art is something that takes a long time to get. Like just getting your fundamentals is something that I struggled with. I struggled with fundamentals forever, but I just did what came naturally. I didn't sit down and be like, okay, today I'm going to learn perspective, or today I'm going to learn anatomy. No, the first thing I did is I was watching anime and I was like, hey, I like how they draw the girls. I'm going to learn how to draw girls like that. And then I learned, oh, hey, I think in order to draw these anime girls, I need to have some semblance of knowing how to draw a human body. And then that got me excited about learning anatomy. Okay, but do you see how there's that natural progression? It's not just like, oh, I feel like, this guy on YouTube said I need to be focusing on this, and so therefore I will now do that. No, it's like just let things happen as they should, okay? And then the second thing that you need to understand is that no, it's never too late. It's never too late to hone your skills. It's never too late to improve. It's never too late to become anything that you want. But to place this timeline of, oh, I need to do it now that I'm 26, by some arbitrary rule, I'm late. Or there's plenty of other people that are doing it and they're younger than me, right? That's probably the most common one that I feel fuels that fire, is that you know somebody or you've seen somebody that's already doing it better than you and they're younger than you. And that's it. That is intimidating. Trust me, it is. But you have to understand that feeling is never going to go away. There's always going to be somebody that's better than you. There's plenty of people that I look at and I'm like, oh man, they're like so much better than me. And oh, they're so much more entertaining. And man, their YouTube, they have so many more subscribers. And it's like, am I too late? Am I too late to become a teacher on YouTube? And it's like, no, just focus on doing it for you. And in time, you'll look back, like, it's one of those things that you don't really know how far you've come until you look back later once you've done it, right? There's not one of those points where you're just like, oh, I think I did it. I think I made it. Well, there kind of is, but again, it's not, man, I feel like I'm totally derailing this. I'm totally derailing this. It's so hard to focus on like learning like how to paint this face and talk at the same time. But no, okay. So this is what I want to say to all those people that feel like they're behind, is that yes, you are behind, but guess what? Everybody is. Like everybody's behind. I'm technically behind, and it's because it's a rule that you're self-imposing on yourself. If you think that you're behind, then yes, you are behind. But if you're just having a good time and you're focusing on enjoying your journey, enjoying learning, being okay with admitting that you suck at some things, and that you say, okay, in order to get good at this, it's going to take a lot of time, and I'm going to fail a lot, then, like, if you're not doing that, then you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And I have to tell myself this more than anybody, because trust me, I'm failing at this all the time too. I'm always telling myself that I need to be better, right? Or that, what I'm doing isn't up to snuff, or it's only a matter of time before people finally figure out that I'm not that good, right? Or I'm just like a hack artist. And that is just a part of life. It's just a part of life. And what you have to do is you need to learn to just chill the heck out. You just chill the heck out and realize that, you know what? Everybody is so caught up in their own little world that, first of all, they don't have time to worry about whether or not you're feeling happy. So the best thing you can do is just be happy, because whether you are or not, nobody really cares. And then second of all, just get ready to learn. Get ready to sit down and learn, regardless of how old you are. You could do this the same thing whether you're 26 or 62. Doesn't matter. Anytime you can choose to pick up the stylus, you can choose to learn a new skill, you can choose to suck at it for a long time, and then eventually you get the hang of it. Okay? So, that's that question. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, I could have just done this to see the full question. Dang it. Okay. Well, you guys can screenshot it there if you want to see it. Okay, next question coming in from Crimson Ogre. They are wanting to do fan art for an upcoming con, and they're worried about copyright issues and all that other stuff. Long story short, don't worry about it, because Blizzard Entertainment doesn't have time to come to your stupid booth. I say it's stupid. Not that your booth is stupid, like just in general, stupid booths. Like some artists at a con, my booth, right? My booth is stupid. Blizzard doesn't have time to go to this con and be like, did you obtain permissions to be drawing our characters and distributing it to these lovely folks, right? It's like they don't care about that. They don't care about you selling your fan art for $20 at the con, okay? So don't let that stop you. Everybody else is doing it. Somebody said in here, I think Tiger Near said something about Disney. Again, like that's just kind of, it doesn't matter. The worst thing that happens is they send you a cease and desist. And then at that point, you're just like, okay, cool. But until then, dude, it's a free game. Go wild. Go wild. Get that fan art out there. Next question coming in. Should I go or not? Coming in from Ravenor. They are asking, I have a question that bothers me a bit. Due to some circumstances, I can't go to the Art Institute till 2019, 2020, which means you are probably, what does that make you? Are you 13, 14? Should I go to it after so many years of self-teaching or should I not? Main reason, they're worried that the school will reteach them more than teach them something new. Okay, so this is, yeah, I totally get where that's coming from. Your parents want you to go because they want the certificate, they want the diploma. And as I've said before, it's not all about that. Trust me, it's like when you put that on your resume and you send it over to Riot Games, you send it to Blizzard Entertainment, the first thing we do with your resume is we take it and we do this with it. Take it, do this. In fact, we have this motion is just like built into us. And this is from, taking so many portfolios, right? Taking the resume part of it and just going like this. And this is basically tossing it out the window. Because all we care about is opening your portfolio and seeing, hey, does this person know what they're doing? And we make up our mind in about 2 seconds. We open it up and it's like, yes or no. Boom. If it's not, we shove it out the window and it goes flying out of the third story window along with your resume down to the hobo downstairs where he picks it up and maybe he goes and applies for a job. But I don't know. So don't worry about that stuff. You want to just focus on learning. And then if your parents want to help you go to college, college never hurts. That's one thing I will say is it's never going to impede you. No one's going to judge you. And it's definitely never going to be a negative it's never going to be a negative thing that you put on your resume. So definitely, if your parents want to help you out with that, then I'd say take advantage of it. And learning from a great professor, being surrounded by peers and other people that are learning along with you is a very, very pleasurable and awesome experience. So definitely, if you have the chance, I would say take advantage of it. But I just want to caution people away from feeling that college is the only way to become a professional artist or get a career in making artwork. Final question. Coming in from Dan Talion. College or freelancing? Okay, so look at this. A trending topic amongst you guys. So Dan Talion is asking, 17 years old, about to finish my studies, high school in 2 years. Don't know what to do after that. Should I go to college, learn what I can from there? Should I teach myself at home, start freelancing? Can I join the industry without the college behind me? Okay, so just what I said. I'm going to echo. Same thing. The echo is coming back, Dan Talion. That is your answer for that. However, you're talking about college or freelancing. Okay, so this is an interesting question because I struggled with this. It's like, okay, I want to be a freelance artist. I don't want to work for anybody. Nobody's going to be my boss. I'm going to be my own boss. So I'm going to be a freelance artist. And I'm like, all right, world, send me your work. But you know what the problem is? Is that, unfortunately, you can only yell so loud that maybe only people within, 1 block radius are going to hear you. And that's the problem, is that you need to get exposure. You need to let people know that you exist. And the way that you're going to do that is by posting your artwork, posting very, very specific targeted artwork, usually fan art. If you want to work for Blizzard Entertainment or somebody like them, make Overwatch fan art, post it to the Overwatch Reddit. Be going to conventions if you can. Take advantage of those conventions. Oftentimes you'll meet other artists. You'll meet people from the industry. Specifically, like find out where Blizzard Entertainment is. Hey, they're in Irvine. I wonder what conventions are near that place. Maybe WonderCon in Anaheim. Maybe somebody from Blizzard will have a booth there, like Samwise Didier did a few years ago. I'm not saying that he'll be there this year, but who knows? It's like you never know who you're going to run into at cons. You always want to be meeting people. You want to be getting exposure. You want to be posting that stuff up. You want to get people to know that you exist, and that's the way that you do it. And then after a year, and that's again, it's going to take years, and you're going to get so many crappy clients, people sending you notes on DeviantArt. Okay, I love you guys. But sometimes when you tell me about your friend's birthday party and your budget's only $30, $35 to draw a League of Legends splash, it's like what are you guys thinking? It's like, and that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of people asking you to work for them. First of all, for no money, little to no money. They're going to be asking you to work on their trading card game or whatever that has, like, they got some chicken scratches on a piece of notebook paper, right? And they're like, well, it doesn't really exist yet. But once it goes live, then we'll start paying you. Then we'll give you a cut, right? And they're going to kind of spin that deal for you. You're going to get hundreds of those people in the first years. But then eventually, finally, you're going to get somebody who actually respects your work, someone who is ready to work with you, someone who takes themselves seriously and therefore is going to take you seriously. And then you're going to start freelancing, okay? So in the meantime, I would say that along with doing your fan art, try to look for local jobs. Look for local things. I started working for a small visual effects studio here in Sandy, Utah, back when I was I think I was 19 or something. And I was just, I was doing storyboards. I did grunt work. I was rendering out sprites for like this video game. And I wasn't like actually drawing them. That's way cooler than what I was actually doing. No, I was literally just taking the 3D model like stills and like turning them into transparent PNGs and then like just basically doing like render monkey work in After Effects and then submitting those out, right? I didn't really do anything that cool, but eventually I started illustrating books. And then just over time, building that experience, building that portfolio, started getting more freelance jobs, eventually started working at Riot Games. And with the years of experience that I had working at the local studio before, that really helped out, okay? I feel like I'm going way too much into this life story. But the thing is that I would say that you want to pursue both. If you can go to college, I would always recommend to go for it because oftentimes, I think it just has a higher chance of it working out well for you than not. There's not a lot of ways that like being at college and being surrounded by peers and being taught by a professor is going to be bad for you. The only problem is that, yeah, of course it costs money and not everybody has money at that time, right? We're starving artists. We don't have that money to throw out there. So it's like this weird spiral effect that happens. So, yeah, so that's what I would say. If you can't go to college, take advantage of it. If not, then build your own portfolio. Try to find local jobs. Do your freelance stuff. Get ready for a bunch of crappy clients. But one day it will come to you. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. So that is going to end our lovely talk. And that is going to end our tutorial on drawing darker skin. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Mocha's looking beautiful as usual. If you would like to download this PSD, as well as all the other PSDs from the past, and just click up here, it'll take you over to Patreon. You can go in there, and guys, don't take my word for it. I want you to get in there, and I want you to dissect this stuff. Turn off this OP layer. Go in there and make the freaking comparisons between, you know, here to here. And I want you to look at the colors. I want you to study all this stuff and bring it over to your own characters. Okay, guys? All right, so thank you so much for joining me on YouTube. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. My name is Ken Lafferty. I will see you guys next week, and until then, you guys take care. See ya.